What's up, you guys? Happy Tuesday. It is April. We are I feel like we're almost done with April. Like it's halfway through almost. Hope you guys have had an amazing month so far. Yeah. If you have any questions about anything, leave it in the comments. In today's, or this month's vocal tutorial YouTube workshop, we're going to be talking about group rehearsals, okay? Group rehearsals. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes. Once again, if you have a minute or so, just in case some people want to flow in. And if you have any questions, leave in the comments. And we're gonna get into group rehearsals. Okay? This will be beneficial if you sing in a group right now, looking to sing in a group, interested in potentially having a career as a musician, a working singing musician. So yeah. All right. And if you are not yet, follow me on all social media at I am Skylar Reed. That is me, my page, my artist page, and my studio page, Skylar's Music Studio, where you can see inspirational things, music memes, the students I work with, some great singers, performance videos, all that kind of stuff. Um, all right. So once again, if you have any questions, leave in the comments, and I'm about to get started. So, group rehearsal preparation. Okay, there's a lot of different kinds of groups out there. There are choirs, there's tons of choirs. There's church choirs, community choirs, women's choirs, men's choirs, opera choirs, a cappella choirs. There's also corporate bands, wedding bands, small ensembles, just singing groups, period, where you might have performed in, you might be interested in performing in, and you might currently be performing in them and trying to figure out like how can I learn my part? How can I be successful in this group? So I have some tips to help you become a better singer within the group setting. It is a little different than singing, by yourself. So you have to make sure that you are listening to everyone around you, making sure that you blend, making sure that you don't outshine, like unless you have a solo. If you don't have a solo, don't worry about outshining. Just like do your part, play your role, and really blend. That's the main thing when you're singing in groups, especially if it's like a big group or medium sized group. If it is a smaller group, you still want to blend, but also you want to make sure, like if you're just one soprano, you want to make sure you're not singing too soft or too loud. Therefore, you want to blend, and just make sure that everything like comes through really nice with the vocal production. So there's a lot of different other types of choirs. I have experience singing in school choirs, singing in praise teams, and other singing groups. There's the corporate band. I was a part of that for a short time. I've had my own band, but that's not necessarily a group singing part, so I'm not going to touch on that. I did sing in opera choirs a couple years in a row when I lived in LA, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit about that experience if you happen to be in opera choirs and just like being successful in those kind of situations, because it can be intimidating sometimes, being surrounded by so many other singers that might seem really great or might be really great and really talented, and you're just trying to figure out how you fit in and how you can be an asset to the group and whatnot. So there are these vocal types in a choir or in a group. There is the soprano, the alto, the tenor, and the bass. SATB. There's also something called a baritone that fits between the tenor and the bass. But in the choirs I've sung in, it usually is just tenor and bass, like church choirs. Don't necessarily have a baritone section unless it's like a choir that might actually have that, like performance choirs that actually like do competitions, and that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, or just choral music, stuff like that. They might write that, but write parts for that section. But basically, the sopranos are the highs. I am a soprano. I like to sing high, or not even that I like to sing high. My voice is naturally a higher voice. I had to work really hard to become an alto, to be able to sing alto, rather. So basically the women will sing soprano or alto. If you're a high singer, you'll be a soprano. Altos are really the lower singers. So they have lower registers. They feel more comfortable in their lower end. And I I love soprano. I love singing soprano, but there's something special about the alto section because they come through so strong. If you listen to gospel music, like they just come through so strong. They hold it down. Their tone is just so like rich. It's just amazing. So there's that. If you're a man, you're going to be in either the tenor or the bass section. So the tenor section are the highs, the guys that sing high, that are comfortable singing up high. The bass section, clearly bass is low. So that's for the guys, for the men that sing low, that have a more comfortable lower register. So that's SATB. And like I said, baritone fits in between tenor and bass. So it's a little bit of a blend, like not too high, not too low. But yeah, that's baritone. So there are a few ways that you can prepare. Okay, there's a few ways you can prepare. And I want to talk about those ways because when going into rehearsal, you just want to blend in, like not just your voice, but you don't want to be like the wink wink. You just don't, especially depending on like what the choir is. Like I was in a university choir when I was in school in college, and it was serious. We had rehearsal like every day, every single day. It was like 4:30 to 5. I don't remember how long, but it was a lot. And we had sectionals. If we didn't know our part, we had to stay after and learn our parts, and it was serious. So making sure you're prepared is like very important. And here's some ways to stay prepared if you sing in a choir. And for those that are joining, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment box and I'll most likely get to it, or I will get to it because we're live. So yeah. So listen to the songs often, basically. Duh. Listen to it. Play it while you're driving. Play it while you're cooking. Play it while you're in the shower. While you're doing other things so you can subconsciously sink that song into your mind, into your core, and really understand like what that song is, the melody. You'll be surprised and amazed at how often, how fast you can learn a song if you just listen to it in the background, like all the time. When I used to sing in the corporate band, I had a playlist, and it was like we had to learn songs quite fast. And I literally just played that playlist like nonstop, like over and over every day, all throughout my commutes. And eventually, like by the time I actually sat down to study it and whatnot, pretty much knew the song for the most part. I knew how it went. I knew the form. I knew when the verse came in. I knew the melody for the most part. So just making sure you're listening to it. Study the song. So after you kind of listen to it, you get the vibe, study, listen and look at the lyrics. So I am currently studying music, just me as an artist. I'm an artist and I sing R&B soul. I write as well. I'm a songwriter, and I am working on um, a new project. And I'm listening to 90s music, 90s hip hop specifically, a genre that I never really paid much attention to. So it's new to me. But I've been listening. I've been listening, just in the car, not thinking about it as much. But then I take a moment and I really study and I look at the lyrics and I try to understand their flow. I look at like their rhyme scheme. That I just study. And you don't have to do all that singing in a choir, but looking at the lyrics and trying to figure out what the story is. Because if you have a lot of songs to learn and memorize, that can be kind of tricky. So it can be quite tricky, like getting those down. So just get those stories down. What's verse one talking about? What's the story in verse two? What's happening in the song overall? So make sure you understand the message of each song. Listen closely. Find your part in the song. So basically, if you're a soprano, that is the lead. That is most likely it's always on top of everything. It's the highest part. The lead is the part that sticks out the most. Hello, Lou Poof. I hope I'm saying your name right. But hello, thanks for joining. So yeah, like making sure that you hear your part. So I'm a soprano, and I can easily hear my part because it's always the highest part, especially if I'm singing it when I sing in praise team and whatnot. It's the highest note, so I hear that. And the alto part is right under the soprano part. So if you can listen and hear, like, I'm listening for the second highest part in the song. Hello, Eel. I'm listening for the second highest part. I'm good. How are you? um, the tenor, I look for the highest male singer. Okay, you can hear a man's voice. Listen for the highest male singer. That's usually the tenor. The bass is the lowest note. That might take a little bit longer to hear. It might be real like subtle, but listen for the lowest note that you hear. But just listen for those. Try to find your part and stick with it. That can be a little challenging. So you might have to go section by section, especially if it's a gospel song and it's super challenging. Study your sheet music. If you read music, get the music and pluck out the notes. So when I was in school, I literally like went to the practice rooms after when I got my music, and I would like sit and pluck out the notes. I wouldn't go on YouTube and listen to a song. I wouldn't hardly ever hear a song that I was actually singing. My teacher didn't really advise that. I sat down at the piano and I plucked out my notes. But if you're not musical, that's fine. Don't worry about that. But if you're in the opera choir, that is helpful. Plucking out your notes and whatnot. If you know how to sight read, you can also do that. Make sure you can sing your part solo with confidence with an instrumental. Okay. So that is the next step. Once you learn the song, making sure that you can actually sing the song, not using the track as a crutch, because listening and singing with the actual singer, it kind of gives it away. Like it's kind of like cheating. Like you want to be able to do it instrumental. I say instrumental, not a cappella, because if you do a cappella, you can take your time, you can go faster or slower than the actual track. You can just like maybe even go off key. You just want to do it instrumental to keep you in line with tempo and pitch and all that. After that, you're going to make sure that you can sing your part with the track and stay on your note, not veering into another section's note. Okay. So this is when you can go back to the track. And this is what will help you get ready for rehearsal. Because when you're in rehearsal, you're listening to everyone sing. Um, you're listening to everyone sing. And thank you so much. I appreciate it. You are just like, hopefully by this point, you know like what your part is, and you know, like, all right, I am singing here. And if you're in choir rehearsal, you're usually hopefully sitting in your section. So it's kind of easier to hear your note and whatnot. But preparing for that, learning it by yourself, learning that instrumental, singing it with confidence, and then singing it with the track, it really will help you get ready for that choir rehearsal. So those are my quick little tips for singing. I do want to do a quick little warm up with you. And then I'll let you go. Okay. So we're gonna do the number song. One thing that really helps with singing in a group, I think, is having your ear trained. Because if you can sing in key and sing in pitch, it's easier for you to hear your note and hear your pitch and stick with it. If your ear isn't as trained, it might be a little bit more difficult. So I would say the first thing you want to do is train your ear, and then worry about the harmonization and all that stuff and playing around with that. But anyway, we're gonna go 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. 1, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Thanks for joining. If you guys found this helpful, leave a comment, let me know. And if you have any suggestions for future workshops, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. All right. Have a great one. Peace.